Hi everyone, Dave here. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Legends of the Spire. Great to have you with us. We are getting near the end of the season now, but I have got another former Spireite for you to listen to today, as I had a chat with Levi Amantchi. Now, Levi's still not very old, but was actually with Chesterfield when we were in League One. He was part of the club that went down from League One to League Two, all the way to the National League, but was actually part of the youth team for most of that time. He got his chance in the first team when Martin Allen came to the club at the start of our time in the National League and showed his pace and his strength as a centre forward at that time at the club. Since moving on from Chesterfield, he's played for quite a few clubs in the North East, where he's originally from, and also clubs like Braintree and Brackley, where he is now. Obviously at Brackley there's a couple of other former Spireites in George Carline and Adam Rooney there as well, so good to have a catch up with him. We spoke about his time in the youth team at Chesterfield, finding his feet in the first team under Martin Allen, and then had a good chat about the whole COVID era and how difficult it was for a lot of National League and semi-professional footballs at that time. As always, just at Spire Legends on Twitter and Instagram, and get in touch on Facebook as well, just give it a search. And we've also got the new issue of Linda's Sandwich Shop coming out shortly, so please do keep an eye out for that. But for now, here we go with this week's interview, as I had a chat with Levi Amantchi. I was looking back, and like it feels like yesterday that you were at Chesterfield, but it was actually quite a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know.
How's it feel for you? Does it feel like a while ago, or does it feel like a blink
Yeah,
of an eye?
dude. It feels like a while. I think it's like 3 years since I haven't been at the club now. So yeah, it's been a bit of time.
Yeah. Great. So how did it all kind of start for you then? Because like, what's your first memory of kicking a ball?
Um, you know what? It was like street football, to be fair. When I was younger, I just started off with like playing with friends and stuff in the street, or playing football at school on a playground.
Mm.
And then it wasn't until like I was around 10 and like one of my parents just said like, you're quite a good player. Do you play for a football team, like local roots, grassroots team? And I was like, no. And they were like, oh, do you want to join this team? I think it was called Whitley Bay at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember I was excited and stuff, and I went to tell my mum and everything. And like, I think next week I got it all sorted and I joined the team, and it's called Whitley Bay
Mm-hmm.
Football Club. And then yeah, I just went to play there. And yeah, like I was there for 2 seasons, and that's how it started, to be fair.
Were you always a lot better than everyone else when you were on like street football and
Oh,
stuff like that? Do you always have a
it's
few
funny. I
skills?
remember my first game, my first match. I was playing on a wing, I think, and I just had like I scored 3 goals. And then the manager at the time, I think it was like Graham Fenton. He's at Blythe now, and he just put me up front. And then from there, I just been a striker ever since.
So
And yeah, just been a striker ever since. And to be fair, I was taller like than most of the kids when I was younger. Like I always been tall from a young age.
did you
So
have your growth spurt really early then? Because I'm six foot
yeah,
five and I had
yeah,
my growth spurt I think when I was about 9. So at every school
yeah,
photo I'm like much bigger than anyone else.
yeah. I always been tall from young.
I suppose it helps, doesn't it, when you're in a way when
Yeah, it
you're
really
going into
does.
football, especially when it's like a bit more hustle and bustle and stuff
Yeah,
as a kid, you can kind of throw yourself around a bit
I
more, I
think that's
suppose,
the
can't you?
advantage I've ever since being young, just being tall. You
Yeah.
know,
So who would your like inspirations be then, either on a pitch or off it?
inspirations. Ronaldinho.
Hmm.
When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of him with his skills and stuff. He was like fearless, just taking people on, playing football with passion and stuff. And it was just like it was nice to watch. And like yeah, I just always rated him as my favorite player.
He kind of makes it look easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, he does with all
Yeah.
the tricks and stuff. Yeah, it was just crazy how he does it. Like
Yeah.
think how he does it and stuff.
And who do you like now?
Who
Who
do
would
I
you
like
watch?
now?
Yeah.
Good one. There's a lot of good footballers out there. Um, I probably have to say Ibrahimovic.
Hmm.
Like he's still playing now. And he's like 41 and he's still scoring goals. He's got that mentality where
Yeah.
he doesn't care. Do you know what I mean? He's fearless. That's what I like about him. So I'll probably look at him as my favorite footballer now, or Haaland as well. Like he's someone I'm looking up to as well. I mean, he's quite young, but he's the way he's playing. Do you know what I mean? He's good as well.
So it started like Wallsend Boys Club that I saw with you.
Yeah, I left
And
Whitley
that's
Bay.
like, yeah, was
Sorry,
that after Whitley Bay?
yeah, after I left Whitley Bay, I went to Walls Boys Club, and then I was there for like 2 seasons.
Because that's like a proper like infamous, famous kind of youth setup, isn't it? A lot of the players
Yeah,
there kind of go on to those big northeast clubs, don't they? And this
yeah.
Tony Lawmer, who played for Chesterfield back in the day, that kind of started
Mhm.
at Wallsend Boys Club. So how was it? How was it like then? Kind of going to that, because I imagine it's the kind of place where there's
Um,
lots of scouts, kind of
yeah, it was good.
always
That's
around.
one of the reasons I went. I heard that like a lot of people like went on to play like further in the game, you know. Um, so I just went there and see how it was, you know. It was close at home as well. So like it was no brainer for me to go there. So when I was there, I just went there with like the lads and stuff, and I was just enjoying my football there, you know.
Mm.
And the top side like in grassroots when I joined there. So yeah, it was good. And obviously like those few times scouts came and stuff to watch games. Like I went to Middlesbrough and Newcastle while at my time at there, but I didn't end up signing for them, so I just
Mm.
didn't stick at Wolves and still. So yeah, but no, I was good at Wales and Boys Club. It was good.
Did you score plenty there? What was your scoring rate like there?
I did, you know, I scored quite a lot to be fair.
How many did you used to get in a season? Used to get a good amount.
Um, used to score a lot in grassroots, probably like 20 something like that.
Mm.
Um, grassroots, it was just like because obviously the team was so good, we used to win like 3-0, 4-0, like you know what I mean. So like basically most of the players were scoring every game.
Yeah, yeah. So then, how did the whole kind of trials go then to kind of get yourself into like another youth setup? Because obviously you came to Chesterfield
Yeah,
in, I think it was like, was it the 17-18 season? Was it around then? Maybe we were in League One at the time, were we?
yeah. I joined when they were League One, Chesterfield in League One. Um, I think I was playing for school boys or something like that. Um, and I remember after the game, like one of my coaches from Wales and Boys Club told me Chesterfield were interested in me or Sheffield United. And I remember Sheffield United told me they want to look at me for like a month or something for trials. And Chesterfield said they would take like within 2 weeks. So
Mm.
I didn't know anything between the club at the time because it was League One. I didn't know anything about teams then.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just like, oh, let me just go to Chesterfield, you know what I mean? And then I went there and I remember I played a game against Leicester City. I don't know, schoolboys or the academy, but um, I remember like I scored a goal there and I had a good game. And then I got invited back to play more games with Chesterfield. So I went back, played another game, and it went well. And then after the game, I remember the academy manager, who's called Mark Smith, said they wanted to offer me a youth team contract. So I remember I was delighted and over the moon and said, yeah, I'll be happy to take it. And I
Yeah,
went for
and like I've heard a lot of stories from a lot of players that go on loads of trials with loads of different clubs, and it kind of almost gets to that point where they're like, "Oh, is someone just going to offer me something?" Because like, "Oh, we'll take you for
yeah,
another week. We'll take you for another week, and then another club for another week, and stuff like that." And I suppose it can be frustrating if you just want to get settled somewhere and get
yeah,
going. So that must have been nice to be able to get the opportunity to just join pretty quickly.
yeah. I was fortunate, like, I joined quickly because that's when I think I literally joined after I left school. So, you know what I mean? Like, it was good for me.
Mm. Did you ever have like a backup plan? Were you ever going to do anything else apart from football, or was that it?
The, not really, you know, to be fair, not really. I think I was just thinking about uni at the time. Like, I think if like football didn't go right, then I'm going to have to go to college or, you know,
Mm. Did you have an idea of what you might have done?
not really, no.
Yeah,
Probably something like scientist, something like that. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Grand. So, what was it like then joining? So, how did it work in terms of coming to Chesterfield? Did they stick you up in digs or something,
Yeah,
or something like that?
they stuck me in digs with two first year pros in my first season, and I was staying obviously in digs. And then yeah, I was just like obviously training with the youth team, like I think some like Monday to Wednesday, and then some days off, and then obviously games on Saturdays and stuff.
So you're actually with like first year pros then at the
When I was in digs, yeah,
yeah.
um, I was in digs with like first year pros.
That's cool. It was kind of nice then? It's not nice to move away from home in it and
Yeah, it was at first it was tough, you know what I mean, like being away from home because that was my first time in my career,
mm,
and then eventually you get used to it, and obviously if you're doing well in football as well, that sort of helps.
yeah.
And yeah, I just like grown out of it and just got used to it, and it's just become normal.
So were you under? So you mentioned then you were under Mark Smith, was it at the
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
So what was he like as like a mentor, as a
Um,
coach?
I remember like to be fair, I was sort of scared when I first met him. You know what I mean? Like seemed like a serious guy, but when you get to know him, like he's kind and caring. You know what I mean? It helps you a lot and stuff. And yeah, he had a big part of my football with helping me. You know what I mean? Told me like I got the ability and stuff. You got to believe in yourself. And yeah, I just took every word he told me and just took it on board. And yeah, just went on with it.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of players that talk about, having that coach or that person that
Yeah,
kind of believes in you. It's important
yeah,
to have someone, isn't it? You can have self belief yourself, I suppose,
yeah. Of course, yeah.
but to have someone else that kind of believes in you as well, it kind of can take you to that next level, can't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
So were you? And did you do much training with the first team around them? Were you kind of
Um,
around them, bumping into them, or anything like that?
I think my first season as a first year scholar, I trained like once or something with the first team, and then after that, I didn't really see much first team until like my second year um youth team, like player,
Hmm.
the scholar, sorry, and yeah, like I was just training a lot, like with them. Then like
Yeah.
second year, that's when I started training with them a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, because it was like league. Obviously, it was a bit of a turbulent time, wasn't it? At the
Yeah,
club,
man.
like we've went two consecutive relegations down
Yeah, I
to the
remember. Yeah,
National League. I
I
mean,
remember being. Sorry.
yeah, like it must like there was times as well, wasn't there, when the atmosphere with the fans and stuff was getting a bit toxic because of the ownership and all that kind of stuff. I mean, what was it like, kind of launching yourself into that?
Um, it was weird to be fair. I remember like being a balls boy sometimes, just watching a game we lose and stuff. It was like tough, you know what I mean? And I remember, was it when Wickham went up and it was like, I think it was the last game of the season, and I just remember that atmosphere there wasn't good as well. Um, yeah, man. I don't know. It was just weird looking at it young. You know what I mean?
Mm. I suppose the manager that kind of spotted you or gave you a big opportunity, I suppose, was Martin Allen, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was.
So obviously he came in at the start of the 18-19 season, which was when we were first started in the National League.
Yeah,
Um, and like he was funny. I mean, he used to do all of those like announcements for players on the website and stuff like that. I mean, what was he
yeah.
like? What was he like as a guy day to day?
Um, he was different. Probably out of all the managers I have, he was a different manager. Um, but he was funny, man. He was like, he would come and talk to people and stuff. You know what I mean? He was like, give you information what to do and stuff. Um, he was like, just give your best and stuff. You know what I mean? Give your all. And the times I was talking to him, he just like, when he would see me, he would just be like, oh, hello and stuff. You know what I mean? And then ask me how my games are going and stuff. And yeah, but I think the one time where I was like, oh, this guy, like, he was sort of different. It was when he offered me like my pro contract after a game behind doors. I think it was against Lincoln City
Mhm.
Reserves or something like that. And obviously after that game, like we won. I think it was like 2-1. And then like he put me in his office and he was like, you played well that game. And I remember sitting down. I was like, oh yeah, thank you. And then he just looked at me for a few seconds and stared at me, and he was like, yeah, like keep on doing well and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool, and all that. And then he came back and then he was like, how would you like a pro contract? And I was like, what? And I didn't think of it at first what he said, and then he said like, how would you like a pro contract? And I was like, yeah, man, I would love that. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to say. I was like, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? And then yeah, from there it just went well and stuff. And I think from there I started training more with the first team.
Just imagine if you'd have said, "Nah, not bothered, thanks."
Yeah.
He did seem like a funny chap. I did ask him a while ago whether he wanted to come on the podcast, and he went, I think he replied just with like, "Someday I will tell my story."
Yeah.
Take care, Martin. So he did seem like a funny guy, and obviously like the style under Martin Allen was quite direct. I think it's probably fair to say. So I suppose that's where probably he saw some qualities in you in terms of your build and your strength and your pace and stuff like that could be quite useful in the team.
Yeah. He just like he said I was like strong. He thought I was fast, and then obviously he seen something in me. I remember you said like when I was in his office, he was like, "One day you'll be a championship player." And I was just looking at him. I was like, "What?" He was like, "One day you'll be a championship player." And then I just used to think like, yeah, just take it on. You know what I mean? Didn't know what to say to him, but I'll just be like, yeah, and yeah, man. He just like I remember when he said, "Oh, I'll be starting and stuff." He was like, "Don't be afraid. Just go there and express yourself like you do in a youth team." And then I think all of that helped me a bit when I was playing first team because I wasn't too worried to make his mistakes. So yeah, I remember him just telling me all that.
And I read that it was a youth like a youth team reserve match where you were playing, and he like told them to take you off at half time because you were like playing in the next match. Is that right?
Yeah, I remember. I think I got a hat trick that game, something, and I got taken off half time, and I remember I was angry, and I was like, "Why am I coming off?" And then someone's told me, "Oh, because you're doing too well," and blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh, fair enough."
And I've got to say, like as like a supporter, we always like to see people that have come through the youth team then to get a chance on the pitch. And there was loads of like at the time there was like Jamie Sharman and there was Luke Rawson and other people like that were kind of really good prospects as well that were kind of starting to be given kind of chances as well. Was it kind of nice between you all to start?
Yeah, of course.
Those chances?
Like, it made us more comfortable, you know what I mean? Because like obviously with them amongst us, like you wouldn't feel as shy, do you know what I mean? So it felt a bit more comfortable, you know, like Jamie being there and Luke being there. So it helped us a bit more. But yeah, it was nice, man. Like seeing your friends coming up with you as well.
Yeah. And what was the first appearances like then? What was it like kind of getting the chance? Was it just something you wanted to kind of, I suppose you want to make an impression as much as you can, don't you, on those?
I remember I just thought like just do the best I can, do you know what I mean? Like try not make as many mistakes. That was my first initial thought. Try not make as many mistakes, you know what I mean? Because obviously at the time we used to get a decent crowd of fans, you know what I mean? And I remember I thought, oh, how am I gonna be? Am I gonna be shy? Do you know what I mean? But I remember like when I went on there, like I remember the fans just saying like my name and like you know what I mean, someone cheering on when I get the ball and like it motivated me more to do well. So yeah, that helped a lot. But yeah, I just thought try not making many mistakes and do what I can. You know what I mean? To impact the game.
And I've spoken to loads of players where they talk about almost being like a different character, different person on the pitch as they are off. Is like that the same with you? Do you find that you change into a slightly different person when you go on a pitch, or is it pretty seamless for you?
Nah, I'll say I'm quite the same to be fair. Quite the same. Like I'm easy going. Do you know what I mean? Like off the pitch, I'm just quiet. I like to say sometimes I'm on a pitch. Like I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm quiet, but I wouldn't talk as much. But say if I like got an opportunity like on goal, I will shout. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll let let my voice be heard. But I'll say I'm the same on and off the pitch.
Hmm. So you don't get involved in any of those in
I
any of
try
those
not to.
games between centre halves and stuff like that. I imagine you've had some in your time that
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been.
I had you got to just laugh back. That's their game plan is trying to get in your head. Just trying to like get you sent off or something. You know what I mean? Like centre backs always got jokes or something, so you just literally got to laugh with them. And when you do that, like they can tell that you can take their banter and you just get along with it.
Yeah. And like at that time under Martin Allen, obviously we had like how many successive draws was it? 9 successive draws. It was
Yeah.
just like it felt at the time it started off pretty well. I think we won like the first 3 games or something that season, but then we had this run of successive draws that we just couldn't seem to buy a win. What's it like
Yeah.
when you're kind of part of that squad and you're getting those 1-1s or 2-2s or 0-0s and it's just
Um.
a bit extra?
Yeah, it was frustrating to be honest, like because you want to win, but then again, like when we got the draws, we had to look on the positive side. You know what I mean? But to be fair, I just remember when I was young, I was just happy to be around the squad and stuff. You know what I mean? Just to
Mm,
get opportunity. So I didn't really think too much of it at the time, but it was frustrating, like amongst the squad.
yeah, yeah. And then obviously Martin Allen left pretty
Yeah.
quickly, and then
Mhm.
John Pemberton came in for a little
Yeah.
bit for one of his first spells. Had you kind of worked with him a little bit previous to
Yeah,
the?
he was when Mark Smith left, he was my next academy manager. And obviously he knew what abilities I had, what my strength and weakness was. And obviously when he was manager, like he brought me and Luke up trainings most times. And yeah, he was just like you get your chance, do you know what I mean? Just keep on working and stuff. But I don't know if it like with results, the way they were going and stuff, like he needed to rely on someone like more experienced as strikers. So I think after that, like I didn't see first team football again. So I think I went back with the 18s. And then after that, I remember going on loan to was it Staveley, something
Oh
like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, after that, I didn't see first team.
That must have been frustrating then when you've because I mean I suppose like a lot of things in football it can be as much as luck as talent, can't it? In terms
Yeah,
of like if you lose a manager or something like that, it can all be like starting again, can't it? Which
mhm,
must be frustrating because we had both John
yeah,
Pemberton and then John Sheridan came back as well, and they obviously all
yeah,
want to do their own thing and bring in their
mhm,
own players and stuff like that. It must be frustrating when you're kind
yeah.
of making it out like that.
I mean, when I was younger, I remember like I was frustrated not getting game time because I was thinking like I can prove and show you what I can do. You know what I mean? But I think I remember like having a conversation like with John Sheridan. Um, he was like he needs someone up front to hold the ball more, and obviously I was young. Like my hold up play wasn't the best, and obviously they need a central striker to like have a hold up play to hold the ball up. So at the time I was frustrated, but then again I understand. But all I could do was just every time I get a chance to train and just show what I could do.
Hmm. So for anyone that kind of didn't see you over that period, where would you put your like strengths as a player?
I'd probably say pace and physicality. I'm tall, and I'll probably say my feet as well. Like people just see me as like a vocal point, like center striker, like just to like give the ball and pin. But like I'm good with my feet. I'm agile for being a tall guy.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say that's my strength, to be honest. And I got a strong shot as well.
I suppose that's the thing about being tall, isn't it? Is that some
Yeah,
people sign you because they think you might be good good at things
yeah,
that are not
like
necessarily your strengths.
yeah. Most places I go, people are like, "Are you like a defender or something?" And I'm like, "No, centre forward." And like when I tell them this, look like really surprised.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm centre forward, but to my feet, not to my head.
Yeah,
um. So, so how did you kind of find it then at Chesterfield as a whole? Because obviously you were there for a good while, wasn't it? And it was
yeah.
like, and it wasn't a tumultuous kind of time around the club. But how,
Mhm.
did you kind of like it around the town then and around the rest of the
Yeah,
players and
like
stuff like that?
it seemed like Chesterfield was like seemed like home to me. Like I was enjoying my time around there, and obviously I had my friends at the time from youth team, so it wasn't like I was lonely. I could like go out and see my friends. Sometimes I'll go to Sheffield to see my friends over there, so I got used to the place as well. Like sometimes I still go to Sheffield to like see my friends up there. So like I even been past Chesterfield a few times. So it's normal. It's like home. That's where I would say I grew up and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Do you still keep in touch with loads of people then from that time?
Um, not as many, but a few of the boys, yeah, I still talk to.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. A load of players talk about having like more like acquaintances than friends sometimes in football. You have those people that you're really close to for a while, and then you just kind
Yeah,
of drift apart because you go somewhere else, they go somewhere else, don't you?
yeah. Um, yeah, I know what people mean when they say that. Like you like to you think you like to get on with everyone, um, and be friends with them, but sometimes in football, like it's just you just be friends with them at a club, and then obviously the friends you're really good with outside a club, you have them.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just tends to be like that in football. I don't think it's never nothing like really personal. Do you know what I mean?
And I think it was your kind of last season with us as a club. You had that loan spell, didn't you? Was that Blythe when you went
Yeah,
to on loan
yeah.
there? So what was it like kind of going up to Blythe then?
Um, I remember I was excited. I was just remember I heard a lot of good stuff about Blythe, and it was near home, and I thought, oh, it's another opportunity to do well in football and show people what I can do. So yeah, I remember just being excited about it.
And they're kind of quite a historic club, aren't they? Obviously, they've been out of
Yeah,
the league and stuff for a while, but there's a
mhm,
lot of history around them. I think Chesterfield once infamously lost an FA Cup game to them
yeah.
once many years ago. And I saw that did you score in the derby, the one against was that the one against
Yeah,
Gateshead?
yeah, I came on for like the last 15 minutes, and the very last minute, I managed to get a goal. And yeah, I remember the fans going crazy over the goal. But yeah,
How do you find it like that whole uh, feeling of scoring a goal?
it was good. I think that was like, I think it was my first goal, like probably like men's football.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just remember the feeling. I just remember to myself, I just want to score more goals and do well.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything that betters it? Kind of scoring a goal? I'd just love one appearance and one goal for Chesterfield. That'd be that'd be fine for me.
Yeah, I always remember playing for Chesterfield. I always remember saying I just want to get that first goal. Like I used to have like dreams, just you know what I mean, just saying, oh, one day I'll
Mm.
score a goal there. Do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe one day we don't know. But
Yeah, you never know. It's these things happen,
yeah,
and like so, yeah, you had that spell at Blythe, and then you kind of did Darlington, didn't you, and then back to
mhm,
Blythe for a bit.
yeah,
So there's quite a few clubs obviously around the northeast,
mhm,
obviously. So which if we were as fans going to go and have a day trip away
yeah.
to one of these clubs at one of your former clubs,
Mhm.
which one would you say I should go and visit?
I'll say Blythe. I'll say Darling's. Darling's a nice ground. Don't get me wrong, but it's Blythe, man. It's something just different there. You know what I mean?
So like during that COVID period,
Mhm.
obviously it was so stop start stop start stop start because of
Yeah.
everything that was happening. And then there was fans at the stadiums, then there wasn't, and then you could play and then you couldn't.
Yeah.
Uh, like as someone in their early 20s just wanting to play and score goals, that must have been really frustrating.
Mhm. Yeah, literally. That's all I want to do is just try to score goals and show what I could do. But yeah, during the COVID season it was tough. But you just like had to like keep on going. You know what I mean? Not let it get to you.
Hmm. How did you find it with? Because obviously there was a lot of players like kind of National League level. There were people that were furloughed for a bit, and then people that were just let go from clubs because they had
Yeah.
no income and stuff like that. It must have been strange for a lot of clubs around that period.
Yeah, it was tough. Fortunately for me, I think I was still getting paid during the times. Like there was no effect on my wages and stuff. So I was quite lucky, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was tough, you know what I mean? It had like players worried and stuff, like what's gonna happen and stuff. I mean, like obviously I was young and I was still in accommodation, so I didn't really have to worry about rent at the
Mm.
time, like being 17, 18.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, it was tough, man. But obviously you just had to go through it, you know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And then obviously we had the spell where there were no crowds at
Mhm.
all. That was just it was odd because like as fans watching on streams and stuff like that, you could
Yeah,
hear everything that was going off. And like
yeah.
I think it was maybe George Carline actually when I was talking to him
Mhm.
where he was saying like there were goals that he scored throughout that period that like as a team you didn't really like celebrate them as much because there were no fans there. It kind of felt a bit odd.
Yeah, it did. Without the fans there, I don't know, it just felt weird. Um, I don't know, it just didn't feel as the same. And as well, like I'll probably say when I played when the fans weren't around, like I don't know, I feel like a bit of pressure off as well,
Mm.
if that makes sense. But yeah, during COVID time it was just weird.
Yeah, yeah. And so you've had kind of you're obviously at Brackley now.
Yeah.
You had like spells at like Braintree and clubs like that
Mhm.
before. So there's a bit of up and down the country that
Yeah.
you kind of have to go and find the opportunities, don't you?
Yeah,
Where they
literally.
land. Do you just kind of? You sound like the kind of character you are. You're kind of pretty relaxed and easygoing about having to take opportunities elsewhere and stuff like that.
Yeah, obviously being at Blythe and Darlington, I already been there, so I had to like find somewhere else. So this season, um, I literally left my job and then obviously I joined like some agent and basically told me a few teams I can go trial to. So I went there. I think I went to Chorley. I went to Kettering for training. Um, And then I just remember like Braintree popped up, and then I got told there was only like two players from last season who were on contract. So like there wasn't no main striker
Mm.
whatsoever. There wasn't many players. So in my head, I thought it was no brainer to go there and try to take my chance there for opportunity. And the first preseason game there, I managed to get 2 goals. And then the next game, I think I scored again. I think out of like 5 games, I managed to get 4 goals, and then eventually I was offered a contract. And yeah, um, start of season, I remember playing, I think it was Dulwich Hamilton,
Hmm.
and we lost that game. And then next game, we played Waterhaven't or something like that. And then I managed to get a goal from there. And then from there, majority of the games, I was like playing like 90 minutes and stuff. So it was good, like just getting experience again, playing back. And then, yeah, I was fortunate to start scoring some goals. And then eventually, Brackley just manager came through the way, and then I ended up joining there. And pretty like so far, I think I'm doing all right. So yeah, it's
Mm.
good.
So did that kind of Braintree into Brackley move? Have they felt like quite important moves then? Because obviously you need to be. It sounds like you're looking pretty settled
Yeah,
at the
it
moment,
was.
scoring a good amount of goals as well.
Yeah, it was very important. To be fair, I probably say this is probably my best season, like scoring. Like, um, like before this season, I wasn't playing football for like 2 seasons, like
Mm-hmm.
properly. Ever since I left Chesterfield, it was find a team and be settled in for the whole season. But I never managed to do that until this season. And yeah, I'll probably say this season is the most important because I'm getting older and stuff. You know what I mean? I want to show people what I can do. And yeah, just probably my best season so far. So far, I got like 13 goals. So just gotta keep on going and see how it goes at the end.
Yeah, and I suppose especially as a striker, it's just all about getting into a rhythm, isn't it? And it's
Yeah, yeah, of
hard
course.
to do that if you kind of bits here, bits there, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Whereas we get a settled team and you get a rhythm as a striker,
Mhm.
it can go anywhere, can't it?
Yeah, I think like once you get like the first goal, the second, it helps you. You know, you got your confidence back, and I think every game I go into, I just think just do what I can do, like my best ability. and don't be afraid of nothing. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, the other team's human like you. Do you know what I mean? Anything can
Mm.
happen. So I just trying to like take the fear out and just enjoy it.
And obviously, I've kept an eye on Brackley throughout the season because you're there
Yeah,
and George is there and there's Adam Rooney there and there's a lot of
yeah,
familiar faces for Chesterfield fans. And it's obviously National League North, isn't it? So you've
yeah,
a lot of like familiar clubs around us as well. Um,
yeah.
is it a nice little setup at Brackley? They seem to have a good thing going and obviously doing really well in the
Yeah,
table.
yeah, it's a nice place, man. The fans are great as well. Um, the facilities there as well is good. Um, if anyone came to me and said like, "How's the club?" I would advise them go there 100% all day.
Mhm. So what's the plans for the rest of the season? And then I suppose it's to kind of chase that playoff spot, is it?
Yeah, the plan is playoff spots, yeah, and obviously try to get promoted.
So then, what's your plans kind of further forward? Then I suppose there's loads of uh, like former Chesterfield strikers that have
Mhm,
um, kind of coming at the club as youth players and then ended up moving on for whatever reason and then kind of building up the
mhm.
career and ended up higher than Chesterfield. I suppose
Yeah,
it's kind of your aim eventually to get in that rhythm and then shoot up the leagues. I'm guessing.
yeah. It's just right now, just getting game time experience and showing people what I can do and try to get as high as possible I can. You know what I mean? But right now, my main is try to get promoted with Brackley and see where we go from there.